On a quiet summer night in 2014, 3 family members vanished from a suburban Calgary home.
Nathan O'Brien and his grandparents disappeared.
And they now confirm there was a violent incident inside the home.
Nathan, we love you big.
You're gonna see you, we're gonna see you, and we love you so much.
Please continue to pray with us for the safe return of our parents, Alvin and Kathy Likeness, and our nephew, Nathan O'Brien.
We don't know where these people are. We're still very optimistic that they're alive.
What began as a peaceful weekend estate sale
Tale paradise. Yeah, fairy tale. Got like every fairy tale.
quickly spiraled into one of the most chilling mysteries in Canadian history.
A 54-year-old man has now been formally charged with murder in the 2-week-old disappearance of a Calgary boy and his grandparents.
Join us as we uncover the tormenting journey of the O'Brien and Likens families,
My whole family's been murdered and he's taken the bodies.
their desperate plea for answers,
Do whoever has Nathan, please find it in your heart to drop off our little angel Nathan, to which he can be rescued and reunited with his brothers and his family.
and the relentless pursuit of justice in the face of unimaginable loss. Welcome to our channel, your go-to channel for gripping true crime stories from around the world.
Well, he had quite a fetish about adult diapers.
Today, we delve into the heart-wrenching case of Nathan O'Brien and his grandparents, Alvin and Kathy Likens.
Nathan, how old are you today?
Disappearing under suspicious circumstances, their story has captivated the nation and sparked a massive manhunt.
The home was not in the condition that typically it would have been left in, and there is some indication in the home that the occupants did not leave under their own volition.
In this video, you'll discover the estate sale turned into a nightmare,
This house, and it's covered in there are bloody handprints, pools of blood, and she knows immediately that something very bad has happened. She can't find anybody. She phones her husband. Ultimately, obviously, she phones the police. But what she tells her husband right away is this: my whole family's murdered and he's taken the bodies.
the emotional pleas from a devastated family,
Do whoever has Nathan, please find it in your heart to drop off our little angel Nathan, to which he can be rescued and reunited with his brothers and his family.
the breakthrough clue that led investigators to a rural property.
Mr. Garland, can you tell us what happened to Nathan O'Brien and his grandparents? Can you tell us where they are?
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into true crime cases.
Triple murder suspect Douglas Garland was a lonely man with few friends.
Like this video if you believe in the power of community in solving crimes.
To the public, our son and family could be anywhere right now. If you have any information, anything at all, please contact the police.
Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Stay tuned, stay vigilant, and remember, every detail counts. Let's get started. Alvin Likens, 66, was an inventor and adventurous man born in a small town in Alberta. He loved going for long walks with his wife, Catherine. Kathy, 53, was born and raised in Calgary and was full of life and warmth. Alvin and Kathy met 30 years ago. Alvin was working at an oil company, and Kathy was with social services. They met in an elevator, instantly connected, and became inseparable. Alvin and Kathy were devoted parents and grandparents. They had been married for over 20 years and had a blended family. Alvin had a son from a previous relationship. Kathy had a daughter named Jennifer, and together they had a son named Jeffrey.
Hi, my name's Jeff. I'm the son of Alvin and Kathy. I said a few words. I'm the sister of Jen as well. Nathan was my nephew.
In 2014, Alvin and Kathy were excited to retire. They planned to move to Evansburg, a rural community in Alberta.
They were preparing to move and they were retiring, starting a new phase of their lives.
They also owned a condo in Mexico and planned to spend winters there playing golf. Summers would be spent in Evansburg, close to Alvin's brother.
They're planning on moving to Edmonton for about 3 months. And then from there, they're gonna go to Mexico, Mazatlan, for I'm not exactly sure how long. I'm not even sure if they knew. But they're planning on, sorry, I'm like shaky. So I'm not sure how long they're planning on staying there for, but then they're planning on moving back to Edmonton because they bought a house there.
To prepare for their new chapter, they put their urban Calgary home on the market and organized an estate sale at the end of June. Over a few days, hundreds of people visited their home to browse and buy. On June 29, 2014, Jennifer O'Brien took her two youngest boys, Max and Nathan, to help with the estate sale.
Nathan's mom and his younger sibling had been at the residence assisting with the estate sale on Sunday afternoon.
It was the last day of the sale.
Nathan, how old are you today?
Nathan, who was 5 and had just finished kindergarten, loved superhero costumes, especially ones with muscle padding.
Nathan? You are our superhero right now, and we're gonna bring you home very soon.
He went everywhere forever in costumes. I think that he actually thinks he is Superman. And we didn't even buy him clothes, we bought him costumes because he loved to dress up, and that's why we refer to him as our superhero, because we know he's strong.
Alvin and Kathy also took their two grandsons to a nearby playground.
He was swinging on the swings with my son and my grandchildren, and yeah, just really a joiner and very outgoing and gregarious.
Alvin and Kathy lit up whenever they spent time with them.
Nathan was the most loving human being, and throughout that whole sale, when I went there on Sunday with my son and he was there, and people would buy stuff, and my mom was being herself, being a sales lady, and she was just so friendly to everybody, and Nathan kept saying, Grandma, you have to make sure that you tell them thank you.
When the sale ended, they ordered food and watched a movie together on a pull-out sofa bed in the basement.
And they spent this blissful afternoon together, you know, ordering Chinese food with some of their proceeds from the sale. And
Nathan didn't want the day to end and asked if they could all sleep over.
Paradise. Yeah, fairy tale, like every fairy tale imaginable.
Jennifer put Max to bed in the upstairs bedroom and planned to stay the night herself. But Max became restless.
Anyway, the little baby couldn't settle. He liked to sleep with his whole body pressed up against the slats of his crib.
So she decided to take him home and return in the morning.
Nathan's mom left the residence with her youngest child around 10 p.m., leaving Nathan to have a sleepover with his grandparent.
Jennifer told the police that she left her parents' home with her baby at about 11 p.m. and locked the door behind her. The next morning, Jennifer tried calling her mother, but there was no answer. She drove over and was surprised to find the door ajar, especially since she remembered locking it the night before. She walked through the door and found a horrific crime scene that would haunt her forever.
This house, and it's covered in their bloody handprints, pools of blood.
Something terrible had happened to her parents and her son.
At approximately 10 a.m. today, police were called to an address by a mother who attended the address to collect her 5-year-old son. The son was staying at that location with his grandparents. The child and both grandparents were not at the residence and, despite the efforts of several CPS units, have not been located since.
Jennifer O'Brien was frantic when she realized her parents and 5-year-old son were missing from their home. She called out for them and, getting no response, left the house to call her husband, Rod.
But what she tells her husband right away is this: my whole family's been and he's taken the bodies.
Rod advised her to dial 911. The operator instructed her to wait in her car in case someone dangerous was still inside. Police arrived within minutes and conducted a thorough search of the house. Inside the house, investigators found clues that pointed to a violent incident. It was discovered, and Alvin's phone was found in a box in the bedroom, while Kathy's phone was discovered by first responders, indicating they hadn't left willingly. Nathan's little bamboo purse was also found. Both of the couple's vehicles were still at the house, and there was no immediate indication that Alvin and Kathy had any criminal background or associations.
We don't know the motive behind this. Right now, we have 3 individuals who have disappeared under suspicious circumstances.
Jennifer had some suspicions about an individual at the estate sale who might have scoped out the property with ill intentions. As police delved deeper, they found the lock on the side door had been tampered with. With no clear motive and a growing sense of urgency, police efforts intensified. The search expanded, involving over 200 officers who scoured nearby areas. Despite their extensive efforts, the bodies were not found.
I also like to acknowledge and thank more than 200 officers, analysts, and investigators who have worked this file non-stop for the past 2 weeks. This has included uniformed members, specialty investigative units, and our search partners with Calgary Search and Rescue and the RCMP.
The case, which began as a missing persons investigation, quickly turned into a homicide investigation due to the overwhelming evidence of foul play. On June 30th, 2014, by 5 p.m., an Amber Alert was issued for Nathan O'Brien.
At 5:15, an Amber Alert for Nathan O'Brien.
Police quickly began canvassing the neighborhood.
Police go door to door.
They knocked on every door in search of Nathan and his grandparents.
And we have canvassed the area for CCTV video. We have obtained video and in the process of reviewing it now.
They were also focused on identifying potential suspects. Authorities considered anyone with a history of break-ins or sex offenses, as well as high-risk individuals in the area. Within hours of Jennifer O'Brien's 911 call, forensic investigators were examining the Leakins' home. They documented and photographed all evidence, both inside and outside.
These suspicious stains on the walkway beside the house.
Investigators noticed what appeared to be drag marks, suggesting that someone had been pulled across the driveway and loaded into a vehicle.
I can tell you, though, that the Forensic Crime Scenes Unit did examine some marks on the side of the house, and we're in the process of determining their relevance to the investigation.
Investigators found fingerprints and fibers, but the recent estate sale had introduced many unknown people into the house, complicating the investigation. A blood spatter expert analyzed the found on the main floor, second level, and the lower level near the garage and family room. Using Luco Crystal Violet, she found footprints and swipe marks consistent with a mop, indicating a cleanup attempt. One blood stain in particular haunted and gave hope to the investigators. On the stairwell, there was a child's handprint. The position of the handprint indicated that Nathan was standing and moving, offering a glimmer of hope that he might still be alive. The disappearance of Nathan and his grandparents gripped the nation. Neighbors and strangers showed their support by placing flowers, cards, balloons, and teddy bears on the Leakins' front lawn. Green ribbons were tied around trees and lampposts as a symbol of hope for their safe return. On July 2, 2014, surrounded by their extended family, Nathan's parents, Jennifer and Rod O'Brien, made a heartbreaking public plea for help. Rod pleaded with whoever had taken Nathan to drop him off somewhere safe so he could be reunited with his family.
To whoever has Nathan, please find it in your heart to drop off our little angel, Nathan, to which he can be rescued and reunited with his brothers and his family.
Jennifer reassured Nathan that his grandparents, Alvin and Kathy, were taking care of him.
Nathan, I need you to hear my voice right now, and I need you to know that Mommy and Daddy love you more than anything in this world. And we can't be with you right now, but the best people that can be with you other than us is your grandparents. And I know Grandma's holding you so tightly right now and taking care of you, and they are doing everything in their power to keep you safe. So I need you to know that. Stay strong, Nathan. Stay strong. We know you are our superhero, and I just need you to stay strong, and we are going to see you. We're going to see you, and we love you so much.
The family and police hoped this heartfelt plea would spur someone to come forward with information.
To the public, our son and family could be anywhere right now. If you have any information, anything at all, please contact the police.
Staff Sergeant Doug Andrus expressed the seriousness of the situation, recognizing the suspicious circumstances of the disappearance, but remaining hopeful that they would find Nathan, Alvin, and Kathy alive.
There was a violent incident in the residence. We're continuing to assess that information, but we're still hopeful we'll find these individuals alive.
Tips came from all over the country, reaching 17,000 tips in just 3 days.
We ask that anyone who was at the sale on the weekend, please go to the community hall tomorrow or contact the police.
Over 200 people visited the house during an estate sale that weekend. Investigators thought one of them might know something about the disappearance.
Investigators are asking anyone who attended an estate sale at the residence in the 100 block of 38A Avenue Southwest over the weekend, June 28th and 29th, 2014, to come to the Park Hill Community Center tomorrow.
The police wanted to talk to everyone who was at the estate sale. Less than half of the people at the estate sale talked to the police.
Only 75 of the more than 200 people who are at the estate sale show up and talk to police.
They asked for more people to come forward.
Investigators are asking anyone who purchased an item at the sale to please bring a photo of that item to the community hall meeting. This will aid the investigation and investigators to determine what items were purchased during the sale.
4 days after they went missing, the police found a lead. They released a picture of a green Ford F-150 seen in the area that night.
From CCTV footage, police zero in on this truck, a late 80s, early 90s Ford F-150 that drove up and down the street several times on the night of the disappearance.
The truck belonged to someone the police were interested in. He lived on a farm near Airdrie, 30 minutes from Calgary. The police put surveillance on the farm and contacted the RCMP for help. After 6 p.m. on July 4, 2014, an RCMP emergency response team was put together, including snipers and a police dog. They acted quickly when a green truck was spotted leaving the farm. Officers stopped the truck, and the driver was arrested without resistance. He was taken to a Calgary police station. Not having a search warrant for the property, the police faced a tough decision. Either enter the property without a warrant, believing the victims might still be alive, or wait for authorization. Under Canadian law, entering someone's property without a warrant is generally prohibited, but in emergency situations where lives are at stake, authorities can act to save lives. The RCMP emergency response team proceeded onto the property. Their mission was clear: search for any signs of life or death, not for evidence, as they didn't have a search warrant. The search lasted about 2 hours, but unfortunately, they found no trace of Nathan or his grandparents. An elderly couple had lived on the farm for years, along with their adult son who still lived there. No one knew much about the son despite his long tenure on the property. It was him who was arrested, and the police kept his identity under wraps. On July 5, 2014, investigators returned to the farm, armed this time with a warrant. Now they aimed for a more thorough examination, hoping to find clues about where Nathan, Alvin, and Kathy might have been taken. The scale of the search was immense, perhaps the largest ever conducted by Calgary police. Every corner of the 40-acre property had to be searched, from the house to the outbuildings and the surrounding fields.
What isn't explained is why the shoulder-to-shoulder grid search on land near the farm was abandoned in favor of a hard forensic examination of the farm itself.
Forensic teams meticulously combed through every inch, while dive teams checked bodies of water nearby. Canine units also joined in the effort.
They take on, especially if it's a homicide or any other kind of serious personal assault on an individual, they don't just look at it as a job, they take it personally.
Investigators spent another full day scouring the rural property, going door to door, asking property owners to check for anything unusual, emphasizing that they knew their land best.
The bodies of the 3 victims have not been found, and we continue to ask people to come forward with any information they may have. Most importantly, we ask rural property and business owners to please search their properties for anything suspicious.
Meanwhile, investigators spent 24 hours with their primary suspect, Douglas Garland, but lacked sufficient evidence to charge him in connection with the Amber Alert. Instead, he faced charges related to fraud offenses.
Douglas Garland is being held at the Calgary Remand Centre on identity theft offenses unrelated to the missing persons case.
Garland's past revealed a troubling history, including identity theft dating back to the 1990s. He had assumed the identity of Matthew Hartley, a 14-year-old boy, killed in a car crash in 1980. Garland's ties to the rural property being searched now extend to a drug bust in the past, where he fled and lived under the stolen identity until his conviction in 2000. Alan Likens, Alvin's son and Douglas Garland's brother-in-law, shed light on their relationship. Despite past business dealings, the Likens family hadn't been in contact with Garland for about 7 years. The appearance of a truck resembling Garland's near the Likens home on the night of the disappearance came as a surprise to them. Alan, Alvin's son, was in a relationship with Garland's sister.
Garland has been linked to the Likens family through his sister, who is in a common-law relationship with a relative of the missing grandfather.
She recognized the green truck on the news, prompting the focus to shift to Garland's farm, where the search continued tirelessly.
Paramedics and fire rescue joined detectives and forensic investigators on Douglas Garland's parents' farm.
The RCMP's bomb truck also arrived at the Garland property, but after investigation, it was determined that the items of concern were standard farm chemicals. In Calgary, the search of 3 city landfills continued, with police trying to determine if any seized items were relevant to the case.
Police began searching a Calgary landfill site, what they call standard operating procedure in a missing persons case.
Police found a duffel bag containing what seemed to be weapons. Inside the bag, officers discovered unsettling items: 3 pairs of handcuffs, a knife with a sheath, and a leather baton. That night, police photographed Garland and noted 4 injuries: a forehead abrasion, an upper lip abrasion, a right thumb injury, and a large bruise on his right knee. His shoes were also seized for forensic testing. Police brought in a cadaver dog which showed intense interest in several locations, particularly around a charred burn pile and a burn barrel. Meanwhile, Garland made several court appearances on the fraud charges.
I guess he's doing his best he can under these circumstances.
Surprisingly, being considered a person of interest in the disappearance case, Garland was released from jail on bail set at $750. Garland had strict conditions to follow upon release. These included a curfew from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. daily. Although Garland expressed concerns about the curfew conflicting with his farm work, the judge clarified that he would be released to transitional housing, not the farm, as it remained under police search. Garland's release didn't change his status as the primary suspect. He was under constant surveillance, with police hoping he might provide clues about Nathan and his grandparents' whereabouts. However, what followed was unexpected, a twist that would alter the course of the investigation. Despite being under constant surveillance by an elite covert team called Strike Force, Garland ventured back to the farm, defying expectations.
Belief was he was trying to get rid of maybe a little more evidence.
2 days after his release, officers observed Garland driving towards his parents' property. What was supposed to be a routine traffic stop turned into a dramatic foot chase in the darkness of rural land. Guided by the Calgary police helicopter, officers pursued Garland on foot, armed with only a flashlight. The possibility of Garland being armed didn't even cross their mind in the heat of the chase. The helicopter's bright light revealed Garland crawling on his hands and knees, attempting to evade capture. Officers surrounded him and handcuffed him. At 1:30 in the morning on July 14, 2014, Douglas Garland was back in custody, this time charged with murder.
A 54-year-old man has now been formally charged with the murder in the 2-week-old disappearance of a Calgary boy and his grandparents.
Calgary's police chief made a sad announcement, signaling the end of hope for Nathan O'Brien's safe return.
At approximately 1:30 a.m. today, officers arrested a man in the Airdrie area. He is currently in custody, and charges of 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of second-degree murder are pending. Until he has seen a justice of the peace, I'm prohibited from releasing his identity. The Amber Alert in relation to this file has been discontinued. However, the bodies of the 3 victims have not been found, and we continue to ask people to come forward with any information they may have.
Chief Hansen, cautious about revealing too much, assured the public of the thorough investigation. He promised unwavering pursuit of any leads to bring comfort to the family and community. That night, as Garland faced formal charges, he remained silent, declining to answer pressing questions.
Mr. Garland, can you tell us what happened to Nathan O'Brien and his grandparents? Can you tell us where they are? Do you plan to help police find Nathan O'Brien to return him to his parents? Do you have anything at all that you'd like to say? Mr. Garland, do you want to make any comment?
As the investigation progressed and time passed, more details emerged about the accused triple murderer.
Triple murder suspect Douglas Garland was a lonely man with few friends.
Douglas Garland struggled with attention deficit disorder, ADD. Despite this, he was intelligent with aspirations of becoming a doctor.
Her son was a highly intelligent man and who was a very handy man on the farm as well, constantly fixing items like the washing machine and dishwasher that broke.
He even attended medical school in Alberta for a year before experiencing a breakdown and running afoul of the law.
You know, and they always say highly intelligent, which he obviously was, a loner, no friends.
Garland's criminal record stretched back to 1988, primarily for property crimes. However, during the 1990s, he became involved in methamphetamine production, leading to a run-in with the RCMP. Fleeing to British Columbia, he assumed the identity of Matthew Kemper Hartley, a deceased 14-year-old boy, and even secured employment in a chemical laboratory under false credentials. After another breakdown in 1997, Garland obtained insurance benefits using the assumed identity. Arrested by the RCMP in 1999, he pleaded guilty to drug offenses and charges related to identity theft, serving a short federal prison sentence. Returning to live with his parents on their farm, Garland maintained weekly psychiatric appointments in Calgary, which he missed on the day Nathan, Alvin, and Kathy disappeared. Further investigation revealed that Garland had met Alvin Likens nearly a decade prior, facilitated by Alan Likens and Patty Garland.
Alvin Likens was looking for someone to work with, that Doug would be possibly a good choice because, you know, he had some education and he was fairly handy.
Alvin wanted Garland's help with a patent for an oil and gas field invention, a pump, which Garland contributed to but did not solely create.
It never made a penny. It never got used.
As the search persisted on the expansive Garland property, investigators delved into lab results from items taken from the Likens home. Alvin's DNA was prevalent in the master suite, suggesting a violent altercation was initiated there.
Mr. Garland went into Alvin Likens' bedroom and bludgeoned him.
The presence of a drag trail, stretching from the bedroom down the stairs, meant Alvin was moved forcefully before another impact at the lower landing. The blood patterns suggested Kathy was moved throughout the residence before being dragged out. Another chilling discovery was a small handprint at the top of the stairs, marked in blood, suggesting Nathan may have been steadying himself before descending the stairs.
He decided that he didn't want to leave any witnesses.
Additionally, investigators noted footprints left in the blood, matching Dr. Scholl's Delta II shoe. These footwear impressions would play a pivotal role in the investigation. Douglas Garland's DNA was conspicuously absent from the Likens home. However, evidence found at the farm explained why. Tyvek suits, commonly worn by crime scene investigators, were found.
These white suits that the forensic people wear when you see them on TV shows, they believe that he was wearing those.
Teeth were discovered on the stairs, consistent with Alvin Likens' dental records. The presence of teeth on the stairs implied he was alive, as there would be no reason to knock out teeth if Alvin was already deceased. Initial examination of the Likens home found an obvious point of entry. The side door lock had been drilled twice. The drill holes rendered the lock useless, allowing entry.
Mr. Garland had drilled a hole in one of the locks.
The damaged lock was meticulously documented and analyzed by experts. Chemical testing of the green truck's interior yielded positive results for Catherine's DNA in multiple areas, including the license plate. The trial uncovered gruesome details about the disappearance of Nathan O'Brien and his grandparents, Alvin and Kathy Likens, for the first time. The evidence presented painted a disturbing picture of planned and deliberate murder by an obsessive killer. Despite exhaustive searches, the bodies of the victims were never recovered.
And they don't even have a cause of death on these people.
The prosecution's narrative suggested that Douglas Garland abducted the victims from the Likens' home before killing and dismembering them, all because of an old grudge against a patent.
And bludgeoned him. Then he went to the next room where Kathy Lickness was sleeping with her grandson.
His parents testified at the trial, with his father, Archie, revealing he was bedridden and on painkillers during the time of the disappearances. Garland's mother, Doreen, testified in court, revealing her shock upon seeing the Amber Alert and informing her son that the Licknesses had taken their grandson. However, Garland refused to discuss the Licknesses further.
Actually had found out they were missing, mentioned it to him, and he says, I don't want to talk about that.
Over 1,400 exhibits were seized from the Garland farm, including a significant find on the 5th day of searching, a hard drive hidden in the basement rafters.
The hard drive was heavily vetted to remove certain images.
This hard drive contained nearly 200 gigabytes of disturbing information, offering insight into Garland's mindset and fetish.
Well, he had quite a fetish about adult diapers.
The contents of the hard drive revealed meticulous research on execution methods, advanced interrogation techniques, and the Licknesses' social media profiles. Internet searches also revealed his fixation on lockpicking, a skill directly relevant to the Licknesses' home security. Surveillance footage from June 12th captured Garland's truck passing by the Likens' home, where he likely noted the type of lock they used. His subsequent internet searches focused on defeating that specific lock, ultimately leading to the drilling method used during the break-in. He bought items such as a meat saw, spreader straps, and a set of butcher knives.
They got pictures of what appeared to be a white sheet in the back of the truck, and the police believe that's where the bodies of the three were.
In the meticulous search of the Garland property, among the discoveries were books detailing subjects like body disposal and untraceable homicides.
Yes, one was a book on how to poison people. Another one was called The Joy of Killing.
The burn barrel, still warm to the touch upon discovery, raised immediate suspicions of evidence destruction. A test burn demonstrated its capability to reach temperatures capable of incinerating nearly anything. The search extended to the garage, where hazardous materials necessitated specialized teams. Among the clutter, a bottle of chloroform was discovered.
Among the items Oxton talked about today were a pair of handcuffs that were suitable for restraining a child and a half-filled bottle of chloroform.
Boxes containing handcuffs, leather restraints, and weapon parts, including silencers and handgun slides, implied his intentions. In the basement, investigators uncovered Garland's cross-dresser closet.
The set of prosthetic breasts, the two long blonde women's wigs.
They found racks of women's clothing in Garland's size and a vast collection of shoes.
89 pairs, men and women, and in his size.
In another chilling find, a box of lock-picking tools and practice padlocks. Curiously, there was an empty shoebox in the closet, missing a pair of size 13 Dr. Scholl's tennis shoes, matching prints found in blood. The shoes were never found, probably because they too were destroyed in the burn barrel. But finding the empty box was a big discovery. Amidst the grim inventory, the discovery of a pair of rubber boots, meat hooks, and knives painted a gloomy picture. DNA recovered from these items further solidified the connection to the Likens family, leaving little doubt as to the horrors they endured.
DNA from all three victims on the outside of a pair of rubber boots.
When this evidence came up in court, jurors were asked to feel the weight and strength of the meat hooks.
They found Kathy Lickness's DNA on that.
A shocking discovery came from the outbuilding, a hacksaw with a 25-inch blade. Nearby were bottles of blood stopper and a DNA-destroying agent. Forensic tests revealed both Nathan's and his grandfather's DNA on the hacksaw.
Alvin Lickness and Nathan O'Brien's DNA on the meat saw.
This explains the high interest of the cadaver dog on the burn barrel.
That is where they found one small piece of which could have belonged to Alvin Lickness.
120 gallons of ashes were seized from the pit, containing fragments and teeth.
Bone fragments in the embers of the burning barrel.
Despite efforts, forensic dentistry could only confirm one tooth as belonging to a child, estimated to be between 2.5 to 12 years old. The age range Nathan O'Brien fell into.
Those were from a 5-year-old boy, so he burned everybody.
For weeks, the trial endured a relentless onslaught of horrific evidence. However, the most gut-wrenching revelation came from aerial mapping photos taken above the Garland farm on July 1st, 2014. On that day, an aerial photographer was tasked with mapping several communities, including Airdrie. The pilot's high-tech camera snapped new pictures every few seconds. These million-dollar cameras usually capture aerial shots we're familiar with, like squares showing tiny buildings.
Justice David Gates ultimately ruled the pictures would not be made public.
These images, never made public and sealed by the courts, showed the bodies of Alvin, Catherine, and Nathan lying in the grass near 2 sheds. They were unclothed except for adult diapers.
Figure in the grass next to them, which is, they believe, was Nathan O'Brien.
The area shown in the photographs was near the southernmost outbuildings, where the grass appeared chemically burned. However, the following day, when the plane flew over the farm again, the 3 bodies were gone. The prosecution contended that Garland meticulously orchestrated the kidnapping, torture, and murder of Alvin and Kathy, and Nathan was tragically caught up in his plan.
Burned everybody, apparently. Chopped them up, it looks like, and then burned the bodies.
After just 8.5 hours of deliberations, the jurors reached unanimous decisions. Following the verdict, Garland, now convicted of 3 counts of first-degree murder, received the harshest sentence in Canadian history, life in prison with no chance of parole for 75 years. However, Garland's story didn't end there. Shortly after his sentencing, he was attacked by fellow inmates in the Calgary Remand Center, sustaining minor injuries. This incident was captured on CCTV. Weeks later, upon his transfer to a federal prison, he suffered a second assault, leaving him unresponsive in his cell. Despite his conviction, Garland appealed both his verdict and sentence. The Alberta Court of Appeal ultimately upheld Garland's convictions and the sentence, deeming it appropriate given his lack of remorse and the incomprehensible nature of his crimes. The heartbreaking saga of Nathan O'Brien and his grandparents, Alvin and Kathy Lickness, reached a tragic conclusion with the arrest and conviction of Douglas Garland. The evidence collected, from the bloodstains in the Lickens' home to the critical identification of the green Ford F-150, pieced together a depressing story of premeditated violence. Despite the enormous efforts of law enforcement and the outpouring of public support, the bodies of Nathan and his grandparents were never recovered, leaving a permanent void in the hearts of their loved ones. Thank you for joining our channel on this deep dive into the tragic case of Nathan O'Brien and his grandparents. If you found this video compelling, please like this video and share it with your friends to raise awareness about the importance of community in solving crimes. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful looks into the most gripping cases from around the world. Stay tuned, stay informed, and most importantly, stay safe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the video.